I've realized something lately. We don't actually lose time. We trade it, waste it, chase it, but hardly ever feel it. In this video, while I draw, I want to show you why time isn't money at all. It's something far more personal. And if you stay until the end, I'll share a few simple ways to slow it down and start taking your time back. Time is money. We have all heard that phrase. It's supposed to mean that if you waste time, you waste money too. That your time can always be exchanged for money. But honestly, that's one of the biggest misconceptions of our modern world. Time isn't money. Time is priceless. When we try to equalize the two, it's almost insulting towards time itself. Sure, you can exchange your time for money, and that's what most of us do every day. But can you ever exchange money for time? Not really. Time is unique, irreplaceable, non-renewable, and yet, given the choice between time and money, we almost always choose money. Imagine this. You want to buy a new laptop or maybe a car. You spend hours, maybe 10 or 15, comparing models, reading reviews, looking for the best deal. You tell yourself you're being smart, saving a few £100, maybe more, but lose 10 hours of your life that will never return. 10 hours of you. And something tells me it was a one-time deal. We rely on money to bring us happiness. We think it's the foundation of security, comfort, even joy. But we forget, without time, we can't experience any of it. Research shows that people who have more free time are happier, less stressed, they divorce less often, and are healthier. They're even more likely to choose work they actually enjoy. Seems obvious, right? And yet, shifting our focus from money to time isn't easy. Money feels concrete. It's measurable, visible, countable. We can open our bank app and see where it goes. Time, it doesn't work like that. It's abstract, elusive. You can't check your time balance at the end of the month and see where it all disappeared. Your hours, days, weeks, months that turn into years. We treat money with so much reverence because we understand what it means to run out of it. You have no home, no food, no safety net. But with time, no. We act with time like we are rich beyond measure, as if we were Peter Pan or Dracula. We live as though time will never end. And so we waste it, sitting in traffic for hours to save on delivery. We're spending a week doing something a professional could have done in a day. Or we spend years in a relationship or at work we know deep down isn't right. And the strangest part? We would do it again. Because deep down we all believe that in the future we will have more time than now. But let's be honest, when was the last time that actually happened? If I ask you to imagine your ideal day, one where you have time for everything that truly matters, you would probably picture it like this. Get enough sleep, meet friends and family, take walks, read more books, exercise, relax, create, and probably a bunch of other things that seem important for you, but for some reason have no place in your life. But there is the truth. If you don't have time for those things now, guess what? You'll never have time for them later. Not next month, not next year, not when you finally earn more. Because the more we earn, the more we tend to work and the less we actually live. That's how realizing all this brought me back to creativity. It hit me one quiet evening that if not now, then never. All my life, there had been this quiet pulse inside me, a need to create, to doodle, to let my hands speak before my thoughts could. But I kept it buried under someday. Someday when I had more time, someday when I had the right tools. someday when life finally slowed down. And of course, someday never came until one day it did. And I stopped waiting. I ordered a few simple things, paper, some inks, nothing fancy, and I just began. At first, it felt stiff, uncertain. It was like trying to remember a language that I once knew. Lines stumbled, colors clashed, and frustration crept in. But then something happened, and I just paused and let go. I stopped forcing the picture to appear and allowed intuition to take the lead. And the lines began to find their own rhythm. Shapes appeared without asking permission. And in that moment, it felt like time itself exhaled. With every new drawing, it became easier, as if my hands were remembering something ancient. And now, when I draw, the world slows down. Time changes shape, it softens, it bends, and for a little while it stops belonging to clocks or to calendars. Every mark, every color pulls me back to this single perfect moment where time isn't measured in minutes but in feeling. So as you watch me draw, maybe take this moment for yourself too. Just breathe and be here. And by the way, if you want to support me on this journey, don't forget to like this video so more people can find it. And if you haven't yet, why not subscribe? You can also visit my website for lots of free creative resources. And if you would like, you can even buy me a coffee there. It would truly mean the world to me. And for those of you who love creating as much as I do, you will find affiliate links in the description for all the tools and mediums I use. It costs you nothing extra, don't worry, but it helps me keep creating. So it's a win-win for both of us. Let's look why in the future you probably won't have more time, even if you have more money. There are 5 reasons for that. And number 1 is functionality. The higher you climb, the heavier your responsibilities become. Every promotion, every new title brings new layers of obligation. You might earn more, but you also owe more to your company, to your clients, to your schedule. It's like buying freedom with one hand and signing it away with the other. Number 2, hedonism. When your income grows, and so do your expectations, it's shockingly easy to get used to comfort, to better food, better gadgets, better everything. And once you have tasted that, you will want to maintain it. A better life needs more money, and to make more money, you need to work more. It's a cycle that quietly eats away at your days. Number 3. The physical factor. Climbing higher usually means you have already sacrificed a lot of your time and energy to get there. That sacrifice doesn't just stop once you reach your goal. In fact, success itself becomes addictive. Every achievement lights up the reward centers in your brain, and naturally you will want to feel that rush again. So you work harder, you push further, and before you know it, your sense of time belongs to your ambition. Number 4, economic trap. When the value of your time increases, you start to see everything else you could do as a loss. If an hour of your time used to be worth £10, spending it on rest or playing didn't seem like a big deal. But when that same hour becomes worth £100, suddenly laying in the grass and watching the clouds feels like a waste of potential. You begin to measure your worth in productivity, and relaxation, once a source of joy, starts to feel like a failure. At some point, your wealth quietly takes your freedom hostage. And finally, number 5, what I like to call Philistine reason. The word Philistine once described someone who values comfort and routine more than curiosity or creation. And that's what happens to many of us as life goes on. You start building a life, partner, a family, a home, a car. One by one, the pieces of the dream fall into place. But with every blessing comes a quiet price, because everything you own, everything you love, asks for a little of your time in return. And that's the hidden cost of success. The longer you live, the more the world wraps you in its routines. School runs, bills, deadlines, errands, a gentle tightening of invisible strings. Until one day, you wake up and realize you are no longer moving through life. Life is moving you. It's like standing in wet paint. The longer you stand still, the harder it becomes to move. And that's the paradox. Even knowing that in the future we will have less time, we keep postponing things. So if we don't have time for the things we love now, where will it suddenly appear from later? The funny thing is, it's actually an illusion that we don't have enough time. In reality, we have plenty. Even though everyone keeps complaining about being too busy, when you think about it, with all the technology designed to make our life easier, we should have loads of time. Fast trains, contactless cards, washing machines, dishwashers, robotic hoovers, the internet. All of these things save us hours, days, even years. But where does all that saved time go? Statistics say that in the US from 1965 to 2003, the average working week actually decreased by about 3 hours. Not much, but still counts. And yes, we now have more free time than before. And not just in the US, it's true for many parts of the world. We live in an age of abundant time. Yet somehow we all feel like we have none. Why is that? Try calling your friend and arranging to meet. They'll probably say, "Oh, I'm really busy." But how did people live before this? Their jobs took more time. They had less help from technology, and yet they managed. Well, technology has two sides. On one hand, it saves us time. On the other, it teaches us how to waste it. Maybe we just weren't ready for its efficiency. Now when our lives, personal and professional, fit inside a small screen in our hand, it's hard not to abuse that power. We blur the line between work and rest. You start researching something for work and suddenly you are scrolling through travel deals or watching someone else's perfect morning routine. Tasks that could have taken 2 hours stretch into days, and your free time quietly disappears into notifications. It's even harder for people who work from home, especially creators like YouTubers, bloggers, artists. The boundaries dissolve completely. You sit down to watch a film and your phone buzzes with a work email. You open it just for a minute and suddenly your evening is gone. And when you juggle too many goals, work, family, creativity, responsibility, time begins to accelerate. You're at the park with your kids, but your mind is on tomorrow's deadline. The moment slips away and you feel like time is racing, because the more we rush, the faster time seems to run. Our stress literally speeds it up. So this feeling that time is slipping away, it's not real. It's a distortion created by conflict, distraction, and constant motion. But there is the scary part. We have learned to enjoy it. We live in a culture that glorifies business. Being busy has become a badge of honor. It's more socially acceptable to say, I have no time, than to admit that I have no money. Because if you don't have money, you're seen as a lazy loser. But if you don't have time, you're important. And that's how we end up losing the most valuable gift we have. The gift of simply existing in peace. In the end, though, it's tragic because being too busy just means you can't manage the most valuable gift you have, your time. And everything depends on it, your happiness, your relationships, your peace. So save some of that priceless resource for yourself. Use it the way it was meant to be used, to live. And yet, everywhere we turn, something is fighting for our attention. Work, media, ads, apps, all designed to make sure you never stop. To sit alone, quietly, doing nothing has become an act of rebellion. To say, I have nothing to do today, almost feels shameful. But doing nothing is not the same as being lazy. Sometimes it's exactly what your soul needs to breathe again. Of course, I'm not saying we should all quit our jobs and float through life. We still need growth, learning, and purpose. The problem is how extreme this culture of self-growth and productivity has become. Every minute of our life is scheduled, our calendar is packed, and we are told that's the only way to happiness. Well, maybe it's time to stop. To look at all those motivational voices telling us how to live and kindly tell them to shut the front door. Because somewhere along the way, we started believing that even rest has to be productive. So when we finally have time off, what do? We rush to fill it with new experiences, new checkboxes, new achievements. You walk through a beautiful autumn forest, the air crisp, the leaves glowing, but instead of enjoying it, you are busy finding the best angle for a photo, tracking your steps, counting calories burned. You make a wreath from leaves, not because it makes you happy, but because it looks like happiness to others, something to put on your socials. And while doing all that, you're listening to yet another podcast about how to be more productive. The only thing missing is a solar panel on your back to keep you charged. We no longer belong to ourselves, not even when we are alone. Even our quiet days are filled with silent checklists, as if our lives were resumes we must constantly improve. And just like any resume, we want to stand out, to prove we're efficient, capable, successful. But art reminds me of something else. When I draw, I'm not trying to be efficient. I'm not chasing metrics or milestones. I'm simply being. Every line I draw is a small act of resistance against this culture of speed. It's a reminder that the most beautiful things can only appear when you give them time to unfold. Celine Malcock, an associate professor of marketing at Olin Business School, in her research on free time, separates two types of leisure. The first is terminal leisure, where the activity and the goal are one and the same. Like going to a Halloween party just for fun. It's immediately rewarding. The experience itself is the goal. The second is instrumental leisure, when the activity serves a purpose, like taking your child trick-or-treating and mentally checking off your parental duties. And guess, which one brings more joy? But the cult of productivity has twisted even the idea of rest. It makes us feel guilty for having time off, as if doing nothing is somehow wasteful, a missed opportunity and a sign of weakness. You sit on a sofa watching a movie and that little voice whispers, "What are you doing here? There are more important things to do." Scientists have found that this mindset leads to lower happiness, higher anxiety, depression, and stress. We have all been taught to be effective. Set goals, stay disciplined, sacrifice a little now to get more later. And yes, that's important, and it's also hard to keep up. But what's even harder is to unlearn all that. We're so focused on productivity, money, and achievement that we forget why we wanted those things in the first place. For many, that's what personal development means. But at the end of the day, you often find yourself right back where you started. Still unsatisfied, still pushing yourself, still hoping that in the future you'll have more time. And then another year is gone. So how do we take control back? Here are a few simple but powerful shifts. Number one, start thinking of time as precious without linking it to your hourly rate. Harvard professor Ashley Williams, the author of Time Smart, found that shifting your focus from money to time can bring you as much happiness as if your annual salary suddenly increased by £4,400. Maybe that conversion makes it easier to see just how valuable your time really is. Number two, stop postponing things. If you don't have time now, you won't suddenly have it later. And why do we even assume there will be later? Number three, separate work from leisure. If you're working, then work. No scrolling, no checking flight deals. And when it's your break, make sure nothing interrupts it. Protect your rest like you protect your work. Number four, give your work clear limits. If you tell yourself, I'll finish it sometime today, you'll probably drag it until midnight. But if you decide, I'll finish it by 6, you will naturally focus better and respect your own time. Number 5, don't overplan your holidays or time off. Yes, you can have a rough idea, but don't turn relaxation into another project. When your free time becomes a checklist, it stops feeling free. So immerse yourself fully in whatever you are doing, work or rest, and you will feel far more satisfied. Number 6, give yourself permission for terminal leisure. Do things just because you enjoy them, with no reason, no outcome, no expectation. There is a time to work and a time to rest, and both are equally important. It's just like breathing. You can't only inhale, you have to exhale too. And finally, stop thinking only about goals. Shift your focus to the process, to the moments that are happening right now. Enjoy the small, ordinary things. A warm cup of tea, a conversation, or the way sunlight hits the wall. Slow living is a mindset, a choice to value quality, meaning, and presence over speed and quantity. Let the smallest moments pull you in. A brushstroke, a laugh, glowing leaves, and if you are lucky to have someone you love next to you, your partner, your kids, your parents, just pause for a second. Do you even remember the color of their eyes? The best time to refresh that memory is now, because that quiet awareness is the purest form of meditation, and it lasts a lifetime. Bite life in tiny pieces, savor every bit of it, because that's the only way to truly feel its full taste. Thank you for spending your time, your most valuable gift, with me today. Stay creative.